Hey guys, it's JC. Welcome back to our channel, All Things Home. Today I'm taking you through the transformation of this office and turning it into my little girl's nursery. If you enjoy watching, please go ahead and hit that like button and don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Let's get started. The current state of this room is our office. However, it quickly became our dumping room for anything that didn't really have a place. This is, of course, once everything was removed from the walls and everywhere, really. So once we got everything cleared, it was just time to remove this built-in desk and all of the shelves. Thankfully, I had help from my husband and my son to get things done a little bit quicker. I tried to carefully remove these brackets, but I still ended up pulling off some of the drywall, which you can see here. Not a huge deal. I just had to use a little bit more spackle and sand a little bit more. This spackle is super easy to use. It goes on pink and dries white. You can also use a putty knife to apply it as well. This was one of my inspiration picks. I knew I wanted to keep the blue wall, so with everything else, I wanted it to be light and airy with dainty accents. I also liked this accent wall with the paneling and wanted to mimic something like that as well. So I started to measure from the baseboard to the ceiling just to make sure I had an accurate measurement and could cut the panels accordingly. From there, I used my miter saw to cut the paneling. However, if you don't have a saw at home, you can measure beforehand and most hardware stores will cut pieces for you. Once I had the spacing, I secured the wood pieces to the wall with liquid nail. That is a game changer. And because we didn't have a nail gun on hand at the time, we were able to just use screws. After letting the liquid nail dry overnight, I went ahead and spackled where all the screws were and also caulked the seams on all 6 panels, which will give it a more seamless look once it's painted. This part can get a little messy, but I definitely just used my finger to make sure everything is completely smoothed out. While letting the caulk dry, I went ahead and grabbed a medium grit sand block so that I could sand where I spackled, and that way it would be ready for paint. Once everything was dry, we went in with the paint, and we had leftover paint from when we first painted this wall when we moved in, so it was nice that we didn't have to try and match it. I'll go ahead and include the link to this color in the description below. We went back and forth on painting the baseboards, and I even did a poll on our Instagram, and it came out pretty much as a tie. And in the end, you can see we decided to go ahead and paint them. I think they would have looked good either way, but I've always just wanted to try painting a baseboard, and we got a little bit of paint on them anyway, so it was just easier. Thankfully, this white wall just needed a few coats over the old chalkboard, and it was no longer noticeable. I did a few DIY projects for this room, and the first one I want to talk about are the bookshelves. I knew I wanted these to be wood and wanted them to have just a natural element to them, so I was originally thinking of doing caning on the front. However, that was a little bit more pricey, even though I wasn't using a lot. I knew that something such as burlap would still give the natural element I was looking for. Target has a burlap runner for $6, and I only needed one and still had a lot left over. For the wood, I wanted the back to be a little bit taller. However, I was just using scrap wood that I already had, so I just used 1x3s for all sides. Once I had the wood nailed and glued together, I hot glued a small trim piece at the top from one side to the other. Then I cut the burlap and hot glued that on the inside of the shelf. Finally, I just secured strong picture hangers to the back of the shelf for mounting. The next DIY was just this shelf above the dresser. All I did was took a scrap piece of wood and the old brackets from the office and sprayed them a light metallic. Next was this dresser refresh, which I have a whole video on and will link here. The last DIY were these frames above her bed. I used these in a different area of our home before. They're just old frames painted white, and I found these digital prints on Etsy, downloaded them, and then just added her name. Etsy has so many options to choose from for very affordable prices, So it's a great place to go and look for unique pieces that can also be cohesive with your space. It has been a little bit of a journey, but we have finally made it to install day, and it's time to fill this room up with all of our furniture and get all of the details in here. I am so excited to finally have this space complete. It went from procrastination to trying to get everything out just from it being an office / dumping room. It was a disaster beforehand. So I am just so excited that we are finally to this point, and it's finally time to bring my vision to life. The walls are painted, the DIY projects are done. It's just time to fill this room back up and add in all of the details. I wasn't planning on getting a used glider, but I saw this one on Facebook Marketplace and saw that my friend was selling it, and it totally worked out. Originally was looking for a gold mirror, but I found this one on Facebook Marketplace for $7 and couldn't pass it up. For the curtains, I knew I wanted something simple and pretty neutral, and they needed to be blackout. I found these curtains on Amazon for about $40. They were all one color, and I loved the little bobo trim on the side. It was the perfect dainty accent. I ended up getting the curtains the length from floor to ceiling because I do plan on raising the rod. It just wasn't a top priority right now. As I hang the bookshelves, I just want to note how much I use painter's tape as a guide for hanging. I first put it on the back of the bookshelf so I could mark the distance between the two picture hangers, and that way it's super simple to drill once the tape is on the wall. I also used it on the sides to make sure the shelves were spaced out evenly and to make sure they were level. I found this mobile off of Etsy and again thought it was just a perfect dainty accent for the room. This rug was a good find at Home Depot and just had all the right colors that I was looking for. Had these baskets lying around and I thought they would be the perfect storage for her necessities on her dresser. Okay, you guys, everything is wrapped up. Here is the final result. video on the nursery reveal. I hope this gives you guys a little bit of inspiration for your own home. If you enjoyed watching, please go ahead and like this video below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on home decor and design tips and DIY projects. See you next time.